Okay. So how many of you guys, when you think of school, think, we're going to go 6-8 months, have a break, and then we're going to go another 3 months, and then we're going to have summer, woo, 3 months off. Anything you want to do, it's all good. Get a job, hang out with your family, avoid your family if you're like me. And I think that's probably a conception that most people have. There's another alternate form of schooling that I'd like to talk to you today about as well, called year-round schooling. And to start off, I'd like to talk about the definitions of both, so when I start talking about these a little bit later, you're going to understand both of them. And traditional schooling, as I mentioned, it's you go 3 months, you have a break, you have a fall break somewhere in there, you go another 3 months, you have another spring break, and then you get off for summer and you have 3 months off, and you just kind of, hanging free, I guess. And this is, I think this is probably what most of us have done throughout our schools. This is what our college today is based on, and it's pretty much, I think this is the most common experience of school. And year-round school is you go 3 months and you take a month off, and then you go 3 months and then you take another month off, and you do that for the same duration of time that you'd be going to school. So you go summer to summer, and you get the same amount of class time as you would otherwise. You take the same breaks and stuff, so you really are in class for the same amount of time. And they have two ways that they break this down. One is single track and the other is multi-track, and that means that different people are off at different times. So now that we understand these, I'd like to talk about the pros and the cons of each of them, and then ask what your opinions are, and conclude by telling you what I think is the superior form of education and why. So traditional schooling, I think, is really good because it's what we're all used to. It's tough to get your mind around something new, and it's easy to organize. It's easy to keep everybody going in the same direction. Everyone loves summer. I mean, who doesn't love to be off for 3 months of your own free time? And during that summertime, it's easy to get a job, to organize family trips. You have a long block of time that you can do whatever you'd like with. And so that's really a good thing. And when you're going to school, it's all this information comes very consecutively. It's a very even flow of information, which means it's easier to build upon prior concepts. It's just easy to keep moving forward. You don't ever have to pick up at the end of every off month to say, oh, this is what you should have known at the end of your last track, so you need to catch up. So those are some really, really strong points that a traditional school has. I mean, organization, that's a huge, just to organize, I went to a high school of 2,000 people, so to organize 2,000 people to all be going to school at the same time and effectively teaching them something, that is a huge point. But when we think about this, what are some of the cons of going to school for 8 months out of the year and then having 3 months off? You have that long summer break when everyone's off. And if you're trying to keep consecutive information going, that's a time when everyone forgets what's going on. I'm sure we've all been there at the beginning of a class where we all have to have 2 weeks of review because we don't know what was going on last year. And I think a lot of people would consider the summer weather to be a pro. I personally don't. I mean, it's Colorado. It gets over 100 degrees here. It means during the hours of 11 to 3 o'clock, you just can't be outside because it's so hot. Some people like that. I'm not really into that much, so I consider that a con. But I feel that traditional schooling has a lot of really more strong things going for it than it does negative things going for it. And when we talk about multi-track schools, some of the cons for that is it's a little bit more difficult to organize. Single track is easier because you're having everyone follow the same schedule. So that it's sort of the same idea as that. But if you talk about multi-track, you have 3 different sets of people going on and off, on and off. That's difficult to keep organized, but it does help with overcrowding in schools. It does help eliminate some of that time in between, like the downtime in between summer and your classes, so it's easier to retain all the information. But it's difficult to organize. You can't have those family vacations that are a month long. You can't hold a long job for a long time. So those are some of the things I'd like you to think about. What do you guys think about it?
Well, when you first started talking, I was like, well, I really like the idea of year-round school because we don't have year-round school, but I did summer school last year, and I really liked it. I had a couple week breaks just like all throughout the year, and And then my summer, I just took some easy classes, so I still kind of had a summer and whatnot. So I don't know, I really found it very helpful to my schooling to be in just, doing easy things to keep my brain engaged all the time. So maybe something more like that, and with the breaks, and I was even able to keep a job, like I still have a job while I'm in school and things like that. So I think you can make it workable.
I think the same, because I'm going year-round too, but I own a business and I have kids, and so to me it's the same type of thing. I like the year-round. A lot of people are taught very early, that they get the summer break, but I think once you have a family, you don't really ever get a break. So to me, I like it all the way around through the year.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about this the other day, because I heard, I guess CC goes to school year round,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was just kind of thinking what I would prefer. It's kind of a tough decision, I think, because of the pros and cons for both, and I feel like there's just as many. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting to hear that was your topic, because I was just thinking about this. But and I think I've never had year-round schooling, but I think I'd like to try it sometime. Like if I ever got the opportunity, because I feel like I would be able to work it better than like just going to school, working hard for 8 or 9 months out of the year, and then just stopping for 3. It kind of seems like a poor structure, but.
I personally agree with all of you. I think year-round model of schooling is a little bit better. And the review of educational studies found that of the 55 schools that were tested, 39 of them showed increasement in student performance, academic performance. And personally, the strongest thing for me is just that you get to maintain your sanity a little bit better. You go for a few months and then you're off, and I'm sure the teachers appreciate that as well. So I hope that you all think about this after, maybe encourage someone else to think about it as well. And are there any questions I could answer for any of you?
7